All right. Hey, welcome everyone. I just wanted to pop on and say congratulations. You guys are top enrollers either for May, June, or from that list of 2019 as a whole so far, the first 6 months, which some of you have recruited whole new teams, which is super huge, super awesome. So I think these calls are super fun because we usually have a guest speaker that shares their story, shares a couple top tips. And I'm so excited that Cassie's on tonight because I got to meet her at convention for the very first time. And she and I have similar family situations and where we have a lot of kids. And it's just life is busy, life is crazy, but we still find time for Plexus. So she ranked to Diamond this year, and her husband ranked to Sapphire. So that's kind of cool that they are a Plexus family that where both husband and wife work the business. And I'm going to let her just go ahead and share her story. Cassie, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. We're super pumped you could be with us.
Thank you. I am hiding out in my bedroom, so we'll see if kids start banging the door down. But I'm like hiding in here. We'll see. I am super excited to spend just a little bit of time with you guys tonight. Like Megan said, I am a mom of many. We've got 9 kiddos. And my journey with Plexus began 4 years ago. Next month will be 4 years. And really about 4 years ago, we were kind of just at rock bottom with every area of our life. We had a large family. I was homeschooling. We had 6 kids at that time. 5, I think we were just adopting our 6th kiddo. And I was homeschooling them, and I was really at a place where I was pouring from an empty cup. I had nothing to give them. My energy was completely shot, and I was just basically parenting and homeschooling from the couch because I did not have enough energy to be the mom that I wanted to be. I felt like I was just really, truly chained to the coffee pot all day long, and that's how I was surviving. And I really just like one day realized like, this is not the life that I signed up for. This is not the vision. My whole goal in life, my whole dream was to be a mom and to have a lot of kids. And I looked around and I was not, I was not the mom that I needed to be or wanted to be. So I took a chance on Plexus, and I did enough research to know that these products were going to work. I looked at all the ingredients. I'm kind of one of those that was very, very particular in natural health and what I took and all of that. So I researched every single ingredient before I said yes to it. So when I signed up, I did not know anyone in Plexus. I actually signed up under a girl that she's very young. She's in her early 20s, and I just happened to know she's kind of an acquaintance. And so when I got into Plexus, I learned everything that I know from YouTube. I did not have a big support system, but what happened was I signed up, ordered my welcome pack, and that night, I had spent like several hours actually just going through YouTube videos, watching different testimonies, and I came across a testimony from Jarrett and Kristen Abart, and it was their financial testimony, and it completely changed my world. It was that story that I watched. It was like maybe a 4 or 5 minute video about the opportunity. It was the moment truly that changed it all for me, where I realized this opportunity was exactly what I have prayed for years upon years upon years. I had actually said no to network marketing my entire, for years. I have some very good friends who are very successful in some other companies. But I had always said no because I'm an introvert and I did not see myself doing parties. I did not see myself selling products that were just kind of a luxury, because what at that point in our lives, my husband, he is a lead pastor of a church, but we had done church planting. So we would go to different towns and we would start a church from ground zero. And what that meant was there's no finances, like there's no salary. So we would have to raise support. We raised support for probably 8 years, which was not a whole lot of money at all. And then my husband would get part-time jobs to kind of supplement what we could. Well, we hit a really, really hard place financially, probably 6-7 years ago. And he was teaching college, and he lost his job because it was one of those, like, as an adjunct professor, if there's not enough kids that sign up for the class, your classes don't make and you don't have a job. So we ended up going on welfare and government assistance, food stamps, for almost 2 years. And we got to a place where it was just the daily struggle. Honestly, we did not see another way. We did everything we could. I was working at nights. He was working all the time during the days, but yet it just wasn't enough. We had built up massive credit card debt, massive medical debt. And honestly, I just think we got to a place where we thought, this is our lot in life. This is the way it's always going to be. We were happy, right? We were happy, but we were under a mountain of debt. And I felt like we just had this ball and chain that was going to be enslaved for the rest of our life. And so going back to that night where I saw the video, I realized that this opportunity was unlike anything else I had ever seen, and that this opportunity was not about sales. This was about people, and that these products changed people's lives, that the company, the leaders of this company, I could stand behind them proudly. I can stand behind the products proudly. And when I really saw the potential of how this opportunity fit into our lives, as a busy homeschooling mom and as a pastor's wife, I truly realized that this was exactly the vehicle that God was going to use to change our family for generations to come. And so I had the conversation with my husband, and at first he was like, "What are you talking about? Like, okay, like the products are awesome. Okay, but to tell people about it and to like get into network marketing, that's a whole nother different story." Well, I shared with him that I really believed that this opportunity was just going to be an extension of our ministry. You know, we were doing full-time ministry already, but I believe that Plexus lines up with that exactly. Like, it's caring for people, and whether you're caring for them, you know, spiritually, physically, we're a whole being, right? I don't think that we can really just sit here and say compartmentalize, because when our health is thriving, that is going to affect those other areas of our emotional health, our spiritual health, our financial health. And so we decided as a family that we were going to go all in. I had only been on the products for a week, and we decided we were going to go all in. And so I started getting on YouTube. I was trained by Sonia Dudley and Jen Hawkins and all the people that are on YouTube, because like I said, I didn't know anyone. My husband and I, we made it. We figured it out. We figured out a good rhythm, and I put the work in. I went all in. In 9 months, my husband and I were both senior Ruby, and we were at a place where we had adopted a son from China. We've adopted 3 children from China, and they're all older kiddos, and they all have significant special needs. And we adopted a daughter. That was 3 years ago now. And she has significant special needs, things that we we really did not, we were not prepared for. And so when she came home, it was evident that Kyle, my husband, needed to be home full time with us in order to care for her. She had to have a 24-hour caregiver. And so because of Plexus, we could do that. So 3 years ago, he went to part-time. He's part-time at the church, which just is he only preaches on Sunday. Everything else he does here at home. And that has changed our family dramatically. It is truly saved probably our family, because our daughter needed so much care and attention. She has a lot of mental health issues and needs way beyond what we knew of. And so bringing her into our family, Plexus was there financially to give us the freedom to put our family first and our needs first for 2 years. So we were at Senior Ruby, and then we both went Emerald. And so for 2 years, we were able to take the space and really pour into our family and pour into our daughter and get her the help that she needed. Without Plexus, I honestly don't know what we would have done. So God totally saw that before. He knew what our family needed. And God has been so good. We adopted another child during that time. Our son's been home 2 years. And he's got spina bifida and he's in a wheelchair. So his physical needs are much bigger than we really we're trying to adjust to that still, and just learn how to care for him in that. But God has been so good throughout this journey, where we were able to put our family first and our family's needs first. And now we're at a place where everything is in our family is going really well. Our daughter, actually, we were able to get her into a group home situation and get her the help where she has a 24-hour caregiver and have someone to keep her safe and someone to keep her where she is thriving now, which is an incredible blessing. We would not have been able to afford that kind of care without Plexus. So adoption, that's a whole nother ballgame. We were able to adopt internationally because of Plexus. We would not have ever been able to say yes to the dream of adoption and to adopt children with big medical needs had it not been for Plexus. And so it is beautiful to think about 4 years ago. We were on food stamps and not sure that we would ever get out of debt. But in April, my husband and I went diamond. My husband went sapphire a couple months before that. We paid off all of our credit card debt and medical debt. It was $55,000. And we are completely debt free. And I sit here and I think about how good God is for this opportunity. And it's something that I didn't know I needed. It's something that 4 years ago, I was just wanting to pay for the cost of my products. And then I saw a vision that this could be so much more. And so that's just a snapshot of my story. But I will tell you that I am so very passionate about this business because of what it's done for our family, that it has brought orphans into a family. It's given them a completely different future. And it is now changing our family. It's taking us from, I feel like we were at a place where we could only look inward. We could only look at how are we going to pay our bills? How are we going to, put dinner on the table? To now it is an outward focus of, okay, our needs are met now. So how can we fulfill the needs of others? And that has been a beautiful transition of being able to care for people in a way that we'd always wanted to, but never could. And so the power of the business has transformed our lives, and we are very, very passionate about it. I was telling Megan earlier, I love talking about the business. I know that some people kind of freak out and clam up and are like, I don't want to talk about money. But I know that if I had not seen someone else's story, and if I had not heard about the freedom, I would have never said yes to this business. It was through the power of someone else's story that I saw a vision for what could be for my family. And so I just want to encourage you guys, as you guys are all top leaders, top recruiters, is making an intentional choice to be bold in the business. Because this business, we know the products work, right? We know the products are life-changing. And I think that sometimes we can get in a place where it's just really easy to talk about health testimonies and talk about the power of the products because they're awesome. But it is scary to talk about the business sometimes. It's scary to put that out there. But I will say that I believe that there are so many people out there that were just like me 4 years ago, who are on food stamps, who are completely up to their eyeballs in debt, who are praying for another way. And they might not know, that Plexus is what is the answer to their prayers, but you do. And so I just want to encourage you to cast that vision continually, to share people's stories. You know what? I think the thing I hear the most is from people who say, what, I'm only making a couple $100 a month. Like, I'm a silver ambassador. What is, I want to encourage you that when I first started, okay, I wanted to get my products paid for, but my second goal, my vision was putting my girls in gymnastics class. That's all I wanted. I wanted my girls, and that's going to make me cry. My girls my boys, they had never gotten to do sports. They had never gotten to take ballet class or gymnastics or anything, and they wanted to so much. And that was the first thing that I did with my paycheck. And so there are a lot of families out there who are just wanting to sign their daughters up for gymnastics. And so think about those things. Think about being able to take your family out to the movies and to dinner. That is a luxury for a lot of families. And so don't discount your story. Don't discount what it looks like to be able to go to the grocery store and not have to take a calculator. That's what I used to have to do. I used to have to literally calculate every single item. So I very much just encourage you not to discount your story, not to discount some of those wins, those early on wins, because that is powerful. More people are going to relate to that than a six-figure income, and because they're not going to see themselves as that yet. Okay, they're going to start off seeing, yeah, I would love to be able to take my family out to the movies. That's a lot of money, especially for large families. Like, that was not something we could do before. So sharing your wins, I've got some notes over here. Sharing wins. So I really look at with the business, there are ambassadors on your team that are jewels. They just don't know it yet. There are people on your team right now that just need to have that vision continually cast, and that vision until they catch it, right? You just cultivate that vision over and over and over until they catch it. Because I tell you, they will. There are people that have been on my team for 4 years that I just had 2 girls, one who literally has been on my team for 3 years. And she just finally said, okay, I've watched you long enough. This is the real deal, and I'm ready to go. I've got another girl that just signed up 2 days ago who has watched me on my team, or she's watched me on my Facebook for 4 years. And she said she's been scared to reach out, but she's just been watching, and she's doing it for the business. And I tell you, I believe that we can share the freedom of this, the gift of this opportunity in a way that is full of integrity in a way that is full of, I don't know the word, but like, you know, sometimes when you're looking at people and they're talking about, you know, their 6-figure income and their flashy car and all this, guys, that's not going to draw people in. What's going to draw people in is impact and purpose in their life. For them to see that we are doing network marketing in a way that is changing the world, one family at a time. So casting that vision over and over and over in a way that that people that are going to attract the right people, okay? Because that's what this is all about. We can easily attract the wrong people, and there are people that I do not want on my business. I am very particular in the type of people that I want. I want people who are full of integrity, people who are going to see this as a vehicle for good, right? That's the kind of people I want on my team. I want to link arms with these kind of people. So I specifically reach out for the business. Yes, there are times where I reach out about the sales, about the products. For sure, I just got my Nikes yesterday, so I'm like totally all about that. But 2 of those 6 people were for the business, 2 of them. And that is what I'm after. I am after creating a legacy business, you guys. I do not want to be doing this until I'm 100 years old, right? I want to create leaders. I want leaders who are going to be thriving. And I want an entire team of diamond ambassadors and double diamonds where I have begun. I kind of see it as like, I want a movement. I want a movement of incredible people that are changing the world. So yes, there are definitely going to be wholesale ambassadors that are going to be a part of that. I want people to love their products. I want people to have health change. But I also know that to create a legacy business, that is going to take business builders. And that is going to take duplication and learning how to raise up leaders. So that's something that I am very, very passionate about, is finding people who are in this for the business. Like I said, the wholesalers are going to be there, and we are going to love on them, and we are going to connect with them. They're a part of our tribe and a part of our community. They're vital. But I also believe that there is a very important intentionality of pursuing people for the business. And like I said, I think that there are a lot of ambassadors on our team that are our future jewels. They just don't know it yet. And so cultivating that vision for them, continually loving them well right where they're at until they catch that vision, but also at the same time purposefully and intentionally reaching out to people for the business. And that looks like really being bold and telling people why they would be amazing at the business. It's not something where it's a cut and copy and paste type of message. But it is a genuine sharing of what you see in that person and why you believe that they would be amazing at this business. I believe every single person can be amazing at this business. I believe every single person can do this. And there is no one size fits all. There's no right way, wrong way. That's the beauty of this. But sharing with them why this business can really be a place for them to connect and to really impact people, or to help them financially if they're struggling in that area. We've got a girl who, they were not financially struggling at all, but she simply wanted to do this because she found herself where she just had a lot of extra time and she didn't feel like she had a tribe and a community to belong to. So she was longing for just that connection. There are people that financially, they don't need the money, right? But they might want the travel. Maybe they want the community, the connection. Maybe they want to give more. Maybe they want to do something more. I know one lady who, she literally, every penny that she earns, she gives away. That is incredible. So don't discount people at all in this business. There are going to be people that come from all walks of life. And the beautiful thing is that this Plexus opportunity can truly, it can be for anyone. It fulfills a need for anyone. So I go after all kinds of people, but I really look for those people who I want to work with. Like I said, like I actually have a list written out of qualities of business builders that I am looking for. So that might be something, that you might want to do, is write out a list of qualities of the type of person that you want on your team, the type of business builder that you want on your team. Like I said, I look for somebody that is full of integrity. That is number one. Like I want somebody that is really got that character. That's a big thing for me, because I know the type of people that I bring in, the people that are going to build, that's just going to duplicate. So whatever that leader that you bring in, their character, their personality, all of that is going to duplicate down. So I am very selective in the type of person that I am looking for. I am wanting to be with people who are going to be positive and full of encouragement, and be somebody that I want to be, want to work with on a daily basis, right? So, so those are some things of just talking about what are the kind of people, the kind of relationships that you want to intentionally pour into. So that's been something helpful for me as I, probably the first year to 2 years, I didn't really look for any specific. I was just like, anybody join me, please. But as I've gotten in this, I've realized that it's so much more about quality, like quality of business builders, because it just takes a handful. It really just takes a handful of quality business builders to completely take you to the top. And the beautiful thing is, when you really begin kind of seeing your team, the culture on your team, my husband and I were just talking, like, we have got such a strong culture on our team that in 4 years, not one single business builder has left. Not one single business builder has, we've not had single drama. We haven't had drama. We haven't had negativity, but it's because we protect our culture very much. We really protect it and pour into the people who really are the positive and character-filled people. And so that has been really neat to see over 4 years how important that culture is, because that breeds, positivity breeds positivity. So bringing that in and really protecting your culture. And I will say that too about business builders. I have been so surprised, and the momentum that we have had the last 6 months has just been huge momentum for our team. And what's happening is, as momentum has picked up, all of these people who were wholesale ambassadors are coming out of the woodworks because they want to be a part of it, right? They're like, oh, this looks so much fun. Like all of these, rank ups and all of these, people winning iPads and all the stuff, that they want to be a part of it. So helping them, like I said, don't ever discount someone. Don't ever, there are people on your team right now that will be jewels. And I just think all we need to do is to love those ambassadors well, but also continue to cultivate that vision for them. They will catch it. They will catch it. So I think that is kind of all that I had. Do you want to do like question and answers?
Sure. Yeah, if you have a few minutes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, if you guys have a question, she kind of shared with us kind of her journey, actually, her whole journey. So who has a question? Feel free to unmute, or even stick it in the comments if you aren't able to unmute or turn your video on. Let me move this.
That's fun. Kristen, you're saying you're a pastor's wife in Coos Bay. That is so fun. I've actually never been down there, but we are over in Eugene, Oregon, so we're not too far from you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Megan, I have a question.
Sure.
Can you? Okay, awesome. So I have so many friends. My heart is so big for pastors' wives. I don't know why, but I have so many friends in the ministry, and they're always hesitant to think of this as a business. So when you're recruiting people who are in the ministry, how would you approach it? What makes it, what helps them open their mind to that possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. I have gotten several I have several ministry wives and a pastor's wife that are leaders on my team. And I think what the key has been like I am very separate from Plexus and church. I don't talk to my church members about Plexus. A lot of them happen to take Plexus but I don't have any, like, I don't go to church, right, and talk about it. It's, separate church and state. That's what my husband says. But they have seen that I have really done this business with integrity, and that I'm not using my position as a pastor's wife or my husband as a pastor to build my business. So that has spoken volumes to my church. But as far as pastors' wives, people in the ministry, we have shared a lot of stories of people who are using this income for God. Talking about people who are funding missionaries, people who are funding adoptions, people who are funding churches, who are church planting, people who are doing God's work because of Plexus. And I think that sharing these stories and over sharing about, money, I think for a lot of people, and abundance of money, especially, has been something that a lot of people in the faith and like as in ministry, I thought for us, I kind of had this poverty mindset. Well, we're in ministry, we're just going to be poor the rest of our lives. And it's something I actually really had to face, and especially in the last several months we went Sapphire in February and then Diamond in April. So going from that, it has been all of a sudden okay, what is this? How do I feel about this even? When we first got our Lexus, my husband driving to the church in his Lexus, he was mortified. He was so embarrassed because he's like, what are people going to think and all this? So it's things that we've had to walk through. We've had to really kind of look at what does this look like as a pastor's family? But I really believe that it is showing people that money is not the root of evil, right? It's the love of money. And so I share a lot of stories about other pastors' families and ministry families and what they are doing good with this income. And I talk a lot about, I truly believe that the Plexus opportunity mirrors the Christian life so much. I believe we share Plexus because we care about people. We know that this can change their life, just like we share about Jesus. And so that's how that is how I really share with people in the ministry, because I believe it's not, like I was kind of saying, I feel like this is just another avenue that we get to care for people well. We get to care for their health, and we get to care for their finances really well. We get to help people find freedom in those areas. But the cool thing is that we have been able to see people come to know Jesus through Plexus. We've seen people, we get to help people in their marriages and help people in their families. And so the ministry aspect is right there. My husband, he's been talking, he's probably going to step down from the lead pastor fairly soon. And we've kind of been talking about like, what does that look like? And he was saying the other day, he said, you know, this opportunity has just expanded his impact and his reach. And so it's not different. It's just an expansion of it. And it's just a different avenue that we can take as an open door, but it's the same care in the same ministry. So that's kind of how that's helpful.
I have one more question in the same vein, because it's not just pastors' wives, but also, like you said, having to do fundraising. So like campus ministry or missionaries or all those different things, and they're having to fundraise. They're so tired of asking people for support, and sometimes they feel like doing a multi-level marketing business is the same thing, but it's not. It isn't.
Right.
So how would you clarify that for them?
Yeah, it's so we have a girl on our team. She's an Emerald, and she was with Campus Crusade for Christ, and so they raised their salary for 17 years. And so it was interesting because she had to actually step down from Crusade in order to work Plexus. And so it was a really interesting, tricky thing. Her husband was still raising support. She wasn't. And we saw this actually with our adoptions. So it was kind of like we tried to raise, we did raise money for our first adoption. It's like this thing of, it's this social stigma of people seeing you work your business and everything, and then you're asking for money over here for fundraising, and there is definitely some pushback sometimes, I think. But what I have seen with the fundraising and with all of that, anybody else that had a regular job that they went to work, right? You wouldn't question that. You wouldn't question their paycheck from a regular job. And so you're sitting here and you're just like, it's a little bit more scrutinized. And I think people feel a little bit more nervous because it's a public thing. But I feel like it's very much a, yes, there is fundraising. I mean, we have a girl who they just fundraised. She's a senior Ruby, and she fundraised for her adoption. And we kind of talked about like, what is, like she's asking for money over here, but she's doing this over here. And you know what, at the end of the day, I think that with fundraising, the people who are going to give because they understand the heart behind the ministry or behind the adoption or whatever that is. But that this is really kind of coming to a place of Plexus is a business as well. Like this is a job. So it's not asking for money. So it is kind of separating that of like, we're not over here begging for money with this. Like this is a legitimate job, and really kind of normalizing that.
I wanted to say something, kind of commenting on what you said about keeping like church and the job separate. Because it's funny, when we first moved here and I started doing this, the only people we knew here was the church members. And I told my husband, like, the biggest conflict I had was, the last thing I ever want to do was to use my influence as a pastor's wife to affect people's decision or make them feel pressured. But I ended up, after kind of feeling out the ladies and talking to them, they were willing to just support me and help me get my first pink party, like scripted and practiced and stuff. So they were very kind and let me do my first pink party, and they just listened. But I ended up having 3 ladies that signed up as ambassadors as a result. And but yeah, so I echo that feeling, because that was something that I really had to think through to do.
Yeah, and I love that your church was supportive. Ours has been so incredibly supportive. I tell you, there are a lot, I don't even know how many of my ambassadors come from my church, but they see it on my Facebook and then they reach out, but I've definitely, I know that, it can always be a tricky thing, but my husband being a Sapphire, so it's even more of like this whole thing. But the beautiful thing is our church, so he's very part-time, paid at the church. And our church loves that we do Plexus because they know that like he's a great pastor and he loves them well. And they know that we would not be able to be at the church if it wasn't for Plexus. And so we got to take the job there. They couldn't pay a pastor a whole lot of money. And so there's not a whole lot of pastors and families that would come for a quarter-time job. And so they love that we do Plexus because it allows us the freedom of being there and doing ministry there. So I love hearing supportive churches. It makes me happy.
And the other thing I wanted to echo too is the income. Like, I mean, as a pastor's family, you feel like you're always going to be stuck being in debt, not having, proper medical insurance, not having money for, like you said, just all those extra expenses, extracurricular activities for your kids. So that's always been a thing. And it just seems like, I've only been doing this for 4 months, and it suddenly seems like, wow, God is showing me that there is way more possibilities. And he's done it through allowing me to feel like a human being with the products, again, but also just the income potential. So I'm excited about that.
Yay. That's wonderful. Kristen, that's exciting. I tell you, it has completely changed our lives. And what I love is that I think in ministry, you're so used to being given to you. And so used to and that's wonderful. Like our church, they're so generous. But to be able to now give, where I feel like we have been the one given to so much, to now be in a place where we can give back. And that's my favorite part. Is it's kind of like this, God has brought us full circle, and I'm very grateful. It's a huge blessing.
All right. One last quick question. Anyone have a quick question they are dying to ask?
How do you work past people just seeing you as a business person and not a people person? I feel like I keep running into people, oh, well, it's just another MLM, you're just out for my money, and they're not seeing, no, I just care about you. And it's just really frustrating. It's like, come on, people, you know me, you know my heart. I don't know.
I totally get that. And I definitely, I get that, that objection or that, that block, where they're still in a place where they have they're just guarded still. And that's okay. It's okay, because I was like that for years. I was like that for a long time. And I think that it's just, when you have somebody like that, it's not going to be about convincing, right? It's going to be just about connecting with them more. That for some reason they haven't caught that vision yet. They haven't, they know you, they know your heart, but they don't see how it's for them yet. And so you just keep loving them and keep connecting with them. And when I see somebody really kind of blocking and kind of having objections, that just shows me that I need to work on my relationship a little bit more with them. That, if I try to show them around that objection or help them through that and they still don't see it, that's okay. I just realize like I need to connect with them more. It's just an opportunity to build that relationship deeper. And I'm going to tell you, some of my very best friends have said no to this for 4 years still. They know my heart. They love me. They know that, it's so funny. One girl today, she wrote on my thing, and she's one of my dream teamers. Like, she's one of my very best friends. And she wrote on my wall on my husband's thing. He made a post about me being diamond up on stage. And she wrote a thing about like, I'm so proud of you, Cassie. And I'm like, oh my goodness, why do you not see how amazing you would be at this? Like she would be incredible. But for 4 years, she has told me no. And so she just hasn't seen how it's for her yet. She knows it's awesome. She knows it's great and it's changed my life, but she hasn't seen how it can fit into her family and her life. And so they're definitely, I just continue loving, and show them that you care about them, that even when they say no or they show an objection, you love on them even more. Because the worst thing we can do is if they kind of, block it and say no thank you or whatever, and then we just, move on, because we are in the people business. And so we want to love on them even more and show them even more that it's not about a sale. It really isn't. And so, yeah, I've got people on my list that have told me that just keep saying no over and over and over, but I'll get them.
All right, guys, thank you so much for popping on. Cassie, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. It was a big blessing, and I'm thrilled for everyone that was able to listen, and I know there'll be more that listen to the recording. So I have wild Indians in the living room, and I don't know what they're doing, so I'm gonna go check on them. You guys have a great night. Thanks for popping on. Congratulations for being top enrollers. Bye, guys.